What's up, everybody? Glad to be here. I haven't been making as many YouTube videos recently, and that's actually been a struggle. Um, One second, I gotta pause this. So, in general, I have a really hard time not making videos, and I'm trying to go from kind of the opposite approach that I took before, where I made thousands of videos just anytime I felt like it. I just made a video, getting into the habit of making videos. Um, and now I'm trying to come from kind of the other end and put a lot more attention into the videos and make much more specific videos. This is one of the things that I've been really enjoying about coursework, is that it's in your best interest when you're making videos for courses to really pay a lot of attention to them and get rid of all unnecessary wording and really focus on being as articulate as possible and not just relying on the editing but also using editing. And for me, I've really enjoyed this process. And I've looked at the things that I've done so far to kind of figure out, okay, what have I done that's worked? What hasn't worked? And one of the recurring themes is that the things that I've done that have contributed, like, financially to my life now are things that I put a lot of work into a specific video or a specific course. And this led to some kind of income. For example, the dropshipping course, when it first launched, it was only a couple of hours, and now it's like 13 hours, right? And I didn't really realize, like, wow, that, I did add a lot to the course afterwards. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that it did well was because there was such a body of knowledge in it. And this is something that's different teaching on Udemy versus on Skillshare. Because on Skillshare, it's more about like churning out courses to figure out something that has some interest and then putting more work into that course that is doing all right on Skillshare, right? Whereas on Udemy, you have to really put a lot into your courses. And Udemy is also changing their payment system soon, and it's going to favor course length for higher priced courses. So basically what Udemy's been doing is research on like when people will pay more for a course versus the typical $10-20 that Udemy sells courses for. And they found that in situations where there's lots of reviews and there is a length to the course of multiple hours, then these are the cases where students are more likely to actually invest a larger sum of money in the course. And that this is something that I've been really trying to pay attention to, because the dropshipping course is like 13 hours, right? My other courses are only like 1 or 2 hours. So one of the things that I'm doing now, before I move forward with the Spanish content website, and I'll explain more about that in a minute, because there's been some developments. The past week has been amazing, like really exciting. So even though nothing's really happened on my YouTube channel in my life, like a whole bunch of things have happened. It's been great. But I'll talk more about the Spanish content website later. What I'm doing right now is patching up all the holes in my Udemy courses. So now it seems very clear to me the mistakes that I'm making on Udemy and the things that I need to improve. For example, before, none of my courses had a promotional video, right? And that means that when Udemy markets my course, there is no ad for the course. So having a promotional video is quite important. And it also means that when I market my course, I have a video, an ad for the course. So I'm seeing now that that's quite important. So I was able to get all the raw footage necessary with like fancy camera equipment when I was staying with Chris Lynn from Daily Refinement. It's a great YouTube channel. Check him out. Chris Lynn's an awesome guy. Really kind of a inspirational person for me. One of my actual friends who's a YouTuber. So that's always a really valuable connection, when you care about someone who actually also does the same thing you do, right? It can be quite lonely sometimes in that sense. But yeah, it's been really exciting, really, really exciting. And there's just, it seems so clear to me now, like, I don't always want to do the work, but I know what needs to be improved. So I've got the chat open now. I've just been kind of babbling. What's up, everybody? Hey, Rita, Rauj, Jamie, Austin, Majao, Tech Creative. Hey, David. That's funny. I was just talking about, well, I'm going to mention what we've been working on. So, all right, if anybody watching wants to join, this is actually a Zoom room like what you're seeing right now. I'm recording my computer screen, so I can show you anything, right? But you can actually join this Zoom room and then talk, and like your voice will be on the live stream. People will hear you. They'll see an image if you choose to show one. You don't have to. You can just do audio. But if you're interested in actually like participating in the stream and talking about something, then feel free to join. If you look in the description of the video on YouTube that you're watching right now, the live stream, there is a link to the Zoom room. Okay, you can also join it if you just go to the URL, which I will show you in a second. So that URL is zoom.us/j/8231100052. And I think that works on mobile, but you'd have to install something with Zoom, I believe. Not entirely sure. So what do you guys want to talk about? There's a couple things I could share. Like I can share with some of these advancements with the Spanish content website and what I'm trying to do there. This would be good for any of you who are interested in creating an online digital product that is useful to people, can be marketed, and can scale without causing you to have great deal more work, right? That's kind of the goal, the ambition of these digital products. So if you want to learn more about that, let me know. Or I can share the things I've been learning on Udemy. That might be more relevant to some of you if you're interested in making Udemy courses. The time to be profitable for content with Udemy is much sooner than if you're making your own website. If you're making your own website, then like you're gonna do better if you have some money to put into advertising and marketing. Once you understand how to do that properly, which takes a while. Like, so assuming you already understand how to do that, which I don't, I'm still learning that, right? Then, you know, it's Udemy is a better starting point for most people because you can use it and then you can get yourself to a point where work from the past is giving you, you know, $100, $200 a month. And then once that actually is happening, then it becomes a lot easier to justify spending time on, you know, Udemy or making courses once you're actually receiving some income from it. Whereas in the beginning, especially before you establish yourself, it's so easy to doubt that it's going to happen, right? But the reality is, you know, Udemy is a huge marketplace, and they're pretty good about not just banning you for no reason. They usually follow their fair warning, like strike program. It's a bit harder to get banned on Udemy, which is a bit good. It still happens to people, obviously, but it's not common, which is nice, right? They also have a lot more tolerance about the subjects that you can talk about on Udemy. Like you can teach almost anything on Udemy, whereas on other platforms there's more limitations. So, all right, let's look at the chat again. Udemy. Okay, cool. Asen says he wants to talk about Udemy. So let's go to my Udemy thing, Udemy. And I'm going to just give you a quick overview of the main points that I understand about the platform now, okay? So, what is Udemy? Let's take a step back for all of the people who are watching this and aren't very familiar with Udemy. Udemy is a course marketplace where you pay per course that you take, okay? There are free courses, but not all courses are free. And most of the good courses are paid. Most of the free courses that you find are just ramps into paid courses, okay? So one thing that I want you to understand is how Udemy is different from some of the other course marketplaces, okay? The most common options for getting a course is usually either on Udemy, on something like Teachable, which is a self-hosted platform, right? So the the course creators can make their own websites that they have the courses on, in which case they have almost total control. Teachable is basically a tool that allows you to do that easily and conveniently. But basically, you're still just hosting your own website. This is very different than something like Udemy, where you are participating in a marketplace of sellers and buyers. And that means that there's a lot of different scenarios about how much money you're going to get, whether you get all the money or Udemy gets it. There's a lot that you need to learn about how Udemy handles the marketing, because on Udemy, you can use it to self-host your course, but you can also use it to get a reputation, whereas you might not have one outside of Udemy. Udemy has a lot of students that are just browsing its website, and you can get a piece of this traffic, right? Whereas on Teachable, you can make an amazing course on Teachable, but you have to actually bring the students to it. Your course existing won't get any traffic. You don't have a doorway for your online visitors, whereas a Udemy course it comes with that doorway. On Teachable, you have to build the doorway and you have to bring the people to the door so that they can take your course. Whereas on a marketplace like Udemy, you can do that as well, and you have to do that in order to really grow, but you will also get, once you've brought traffic, Udemy will then also bring traffic to your course. So Udemy basically like matches the traffic that you bring. Say that you bring 10 or 20 people, then Udemy's going to be like, hey, I remember last month you brought 10 or 20 people, so I'm going to give you 10 to 20 people. That's not the exact metric. It's not like a one-to-one rate like that, but that's the basics of how it works on Udemy. And that's something that's important for you to understand. If you want Udemy to market your course and grow, you have to show them that you can bring some students in and get them to retain interest in your course. Okay? So now let's compare Udemy real quick to a marketplace like Skillshare. Because what works on Skillshare and what works on Udemy is actually quite different. And the reason for this is because the pricing model that these two platforms use is completely different. Okay, so on one hand, on Udemy, you pay for every course that you purchase, right? Whereas on Skillshare, you just pay one monthly fee and you get all the courses on the platform, right? So the selling process for how you pitch your courses is completely different. And also, the things that people value in a course on Skillshare and Udemy is different. On Udemy, you want longer courses about subjects that people are interested in. That's kind of one of the keys. There's three main things you have to understand. You need to be creating solutions for people for something there is demand for. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of demand, but the demand is the cap on how much you can earn through the subject that you're teaching, okay, through that particular course. So that's the most important thing to understand, is that there has to be demand and you have to be solving problems. There has to be some kind of question that a lot of these people have who are interested in this, and you present solutions to them, or you bring the information necessary for them much, much closer. And you really want to pack as much information as possible into products on Udemy, because on Udemy you purchase each course. This makes it fundamentally different what a student will value on Udemy versus on something like Skillshare or even on YouTube. Because on Udemy, you have to justify that the course is worth it. Your course has to have a lot more to it. Whereas on Skillshare, it just has to retain interest for at least like 20, 30 minutes. That's all you really need. Because on Skillshare, when the students are purchasing something, they're already purchased it. It doesn't matter whether they sign up for 10 courses or 30 courses or 2 courses. It costs them the same amount of money. So there's not really any risk for them putting their time into your course. Whereas for Udemy, there is more risk for the student, because they are paying for the subject matter you're teaching, and they're only getting your course. They're not getting anything else with it, right? So that's really important to understand. So now I'm going to get into one other thing that makes a difference on Udemy. And this is something I've already explained, which is course length. So earlier I explained that people are more likely to purchase a course that is longer, as long as it's filled with useful information, because they're purchasing just your course. They're not getting anything else with it. So course length is quite an important metric. Would you prefer to have an acre of land or 30 acres of land? You know, which are you more interested in paying for? In a lot of cases, bigger is better, okay? But keep in mind, you can't just add crappy content to your course and make it all long and drawn out. You want a lot of effective content. And it's not easy to get into the 3, 4, 5, 10-hour marks with effective content. That takes time. So don't think that you just have to start a course and have it be huge. What works really well is to get a course to a good starting point, and then to continuously add to that course. Even if you don't have very much time, just adding one section a month adds a lot. Like my course came out like 2 years ago, and it's almost it's over doubled in length. And I like couldn't have the patience right now to take the whole course. It's 13 hours or 12 hours, something like that. Like, I'm being honest, I wouldn't sit down for 12 hours and watch a course. But despite that, I've been able to create a product that's long, specifically because I've created it in slow chunks over a long period of time, not just sat down and burned it all out over a week or two, right? These are completely different approaches. And you're going to find that when you contribute to a project regularly and reliably over a longer period of time, the quality of the content that you create is much higher than if you're just trying to rush to get something created right now. You're going to get burned out when you do that, and it's very easy when you're burned out to lose track of the student's perspective. And it's really important that you can clearly understand exactly what your students are going to be thinking as they go through the lectures in your courses. So you really need to be able to maintain this clarity. And that's one of the reasons that contributing to a course over a long period of time is quite a viable and good strategy on Udemy. I, in general, take the approach where I create as much as possible. I make a very wide net, and then I look at what's getting interest, and then I put more time into the things that are getting interest. But with Udemy, that is not something that I think is worth doing. I think that people are better off on Udemy by identifying something that they can continuously create content about, and creating a course, and not just posting a course and then forgetting about it, like regularly thinking, okay, as I'm learning more about this subject, how do I make this course better? How do I make this course more engaging? How do I add more to this course? Okay, so now that I've really explained this to you guys, these course length is quite important on Udemy. It's important that you understand that. And it's better that you focus on an individual course to make sure that it is complete and well done, and you add and contribute and make it better and bigger over time, than it is for you to just keep creating new courses over and over again. I'm not saying you shouldn't make new courses, but if you're really interested in growing on Udemy, you want to keep this in mind. Understand that Udemy is transitioning towards a payment model that will favor longer courses selling for significantly more money. There are supposedly going to be scenarios where courses sell for 40, 50, 60 bucks because they're longer instead of $10 or $20. This means that people will pay 3 or 4 times as much from the Udemy organic traffic. So this could be a very interesting thing to take advantage of, because right now it's brand new, right? So there aren't going to be as many people who are trying to adopt to this new system. It's going to take time for people to learn and start trying to work with it. So if you can keep this in mind right now and focus on getting yourself in a position where 6 months or a year from now, you have a 3 or 4 hour course, that's probably going to be a good thing based on the changes that Udemy is making to their pricing, okay? So let's say that you've created your course. Maybe it's hard for you to figure out what you should do to improve it. So I'm now going to show you my courses, and I'll tell you exactly what all the weaknesses are in each course and what I have been fixing and working on recently. Give me a minute here. Just gonna take a break. Gotta try and not talk too quickly. Okay, so first I'm going to reorganize this so that it shows my published courses. Now you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 published courses, okay? 2 of these courses are free. This 7-day Start YouTube Channel Crash course is a free course. This How to Fight Fatigue and Get More Energy course is also a free course. Then all of my other courses are paid and they are set to the max price that Udemy offers. But they never sell for that. That's normal. Okay, you can see here it says $199, but $4.90 earned this month. Total lifetime, $37. So it's quite obvious that it doesn't ever sell for that much. Same thing with the dropshipping course. Some things to note right here is you can see that the dropshipping course contributes to most of the income at the moment by far, and in the long term, almost all of the income. You can see that the dropshipping course has earned almost $19,000 in its lifetime, whereas the YouTube channel course has earned $200, and then my more technical streaming and live recording course has earned $37. So this course is the newest course. It's only like a month old, maybe 3 weeks old, whereas this course I've had for a while, and this course was my first course, okay? So some things right off the bat that I want you guys to know. Do not have free courses on Udemy, okay? This is something that, if you listen to other people who instruct you how to make Udemy courses, one of the first things that most people will tell you is that you need to make a free course so that you can get signups, and then you create the course over time, you improve it, and then eventually you convert it to a paid course. Now, this is something you can do on Udemy. However, I do not believe that it is a wise decision for you to do this because of the things that Udemy actually cares about regarding what they consider a good course. All right? The reason that you don't want to use free courses is because retention for free courses is very, very low. Okay? You can see here that of my paid course, the dropshipping course has 4,500 students. Okay? Of these, about 1,500 of them are free coupon students. So about 3,000 of them are paid. Okay? Whereas these two courses, this free course has 4,500 students, and this course has 7,000 students, okay? That may look appealing to you. It may be like, oh, okay, well, I don't have a presence, Jack. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't do marketing. I have to use free courses on Udemy because otherwise I don't get any students. You have to understand that free students are absolutely not the same in any way compared to paid students when it comes to their analytics, okay? The way that people who get your course for free engage in your course is typically non-existent. You can give your course away for free, but you must have your course be a paid course and use the coupon system to give people who are already interested in your course specifically. That's the difference, okay? You can give people who want your course for free. But do not have your course be free on Udemy. Because what this means is that you are going to get loads and loads and loads of hoarding student signups. And these students are just trying to register for as many free courses as possible. The chance of them actually engaging in your course is very unlikely. So what's going to happen is you make these free courses and you get excited because a couple hundred people sign up on the day one, and that's a big number and it seems exciting, but in reality, it's really empty. And it also means that you're much more likely to be critiqued because these people have no connection to you. They don't know who you are. They don't know anything about you. They just got your shit for free and they're just trying to hoard courses. So you're going to find that course ratings and reviews for free courses are far, far more critical and negative than reviews for people who actually paid something or had some previous interest in your course. And this may seem counterintuitive because a lot of people think, oh, well, the people who paid money are going to be more critical because they gave something up. This actually isn't true. There are cases if somebody pays thousands of dollars, yes, they will be more critical. But on Udemy, we are talking about $10, $20, maybe $100 or $200 at the most, okay? The reality is, on Udemy, course ratings, reviews, and analytics are far worse and far more critical with free students. So what you want to do is avoid free organic traffic on Udemy with these free courses. You want to give your course away to people for free once they show you that they have specific interest in your course. That part is very important because that means that if they sign up for the course, they're way more likely to take it, and they're much more likely to leave you a positive review. It's a very different situation from an analytical perspective than when you're letting people sign up for your course for free, okay? And so now let's talk about the obstacles and the problems that are common with courses, okay? So already right off the bat, the biggest two glaring problems is this course is free and this course is free. These to me are basically just experiments. I don't put much time into them, and that's one of the reasons that you can see that, okay, paid course, 5 stars, 4.5, 4.2, that one's not that great. I've been working on it more recently to reorganize the course and make it more useful to people. And you can see that all of my paid courses have higher reviews. So that's twofold. One, it's because people who pay for your content are more likely to review you higher. And two, it's because free content, free reviews, free signups are more critical, okay? They don't have any connection to you. They often don't care about you. You will find that people just sign up for your course for free, watch 30 seconds of a lecture, and give you a 1-star review and tell you like, oh, I didn't like the sound of your voice. That kind of thing happens a lot with free reviews. Whereas with paid traffic, when somebody pays for your course, it's a different situation, okay? So again, glaring problem, these are free courses. You don't want free courses, okay? Again, I haven't put that much time and effort into these courses, which again is another reason, but I don't recommend you ever have a free course. There are some strategies that you can use to use promotional emails on Udemy, because basically if you have a free course and you convert it to paid, then you can send a promotional email out to all of the students in the course. But the reality is, again, most of these students are course hoarders who never actually took your course. Sometimes this number can be as high as 98%, okay? That's how bad the traffic from course hoarding is analytically. Up to 98% of these signups will never even take your first lecture, let alone your entire course. So it's really important you understand that. Don't have free courses, okay? Don't do it. I was trying with this course it's a part of a strategy. where you have a crash course that's free and gets traffic, and then you lead them into a paid course on Udemy that has more details, right? So the crash course typically has a bit of useful information. It's a taste of the rest of the course. And then Udemy actually allows you to share a coupon for your other course in the end of a course, even if it's free. So you can convert Udemy traffic into paid traffic that way. But I believe you're better off just having a big, full, proper course that's paid and then marketing that course. I don't think that the crash course to other course on Udemy is a great way to do it unless you're putting in a lot of marketing into the crash course. Because that's something you can give away for free, so it's easier to get people interested if you're giving something away for free. So that's a strategy I will try more in the future. But for now, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with it. Okay? So we understand course length. We understand that free courses are bad. If you want to give your course away for free, you can do that, but make sure that it is to people who have some kind of interest in you or your course already. Like if somebody asks you for a free coupon, that's okay, as long as they're not asking for you on Udemy at least. So what else? What else can I get at? So, okay, the most common hole or problem in a course is a lack of a promotional video, okay? So that's something that I just did recently. We're going to actually go to the YouTube promotional video, and I will show you. So if you go to your course, and then you go to the course landing page, you're going to see some text that you put up, and this is the first stuff people see, so it's important that you take care about it, right? And so then you're also going to get to pick your course image. And then after that, there's a promotional video, okay? And promotional videos are basically advertisements for your Udemy course. You can use this advertisement in your own marketing, and Udemy will use it in their marketing, okay? It's important that you create promotional videos for your courses. Now, if you want to create a promotional video, Udemy will tell you exactly how to do it. Just search for Udemy promotional video guide, okay? And then you're going to click on this, the perfect promo guide from Udemy, okay? And it literally tells you, for the first 3 seconds, do this. For the next 20 seconds, do this. For the next 20 seconds, do this. Don't do this. Try and do this. For the next 20 seconds, do this. Now you're done. Okay, this is a literal blueprint of exactly what you should do to make a promo video. Okay, so all that you have to do is keep this in mind and record the video. All right, and so now I can give a quick example of how I went about recording these, because a lot of people get really worried about their promotional videos. They put them off, and I did that as well. I didn't have any promotional videos on any of my courses until 3 weeks ago, okay? Now all 3 of my paid courses have promotional videos, right? So the way that I made it is I looked at the guidelines that Udemy has, right? And I identified, all right, I need 20 seconds talking about myself and giving myself credibility, which is usually talking about YouTube and being a YouTuber. The next thing is I need to talk about the benefits, okay? Then after that, I need to list the things I'm going to teach, and then I need to describe my student, all right? So you don't have to do it in that same order, and you also don't have to do it perfectly. You literally just have to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to talk about the benefits of my course 4 times and record it in one thing. All right, that's enough content to make that. Next, I'm going to talk about my ideal student 4 times and in one recording. Okay, done with that video. Next, I'm going to talk about my credibility 4 different times. Try and improve it each time. Done, okay? All you need to do is make that raw content. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you can easily go through and edit it and be like, well, the beginning of attempt number 1 was good, but the middle was bad. So I'm going to take out the middle here, and I'm going to replace it with this sentence from my 4th try, which I really liked, right? So it's a lot easier to do all this work once you've created the raw content. Creating the raw content is the hardest part, okay? So that's what you should just do. Focus on being like, okay, I need to answer these 4 questions 4 times, and then I'll make a video out of the result, okay? You're going to spend a significant amount of time editing the video. You should expect that it will take you between 2 and 5 hours per promo video, and the end result will be a promo video that is 60 or 90 seconds long, or 90 seconds long, okay? So now let's show you guys what a promo video looks like.
My name is Jack Pittman.
Okay, I can't make it any bigger. That's kind of irritating. So I'm going to look at the promo video from my side. What's the easiest way? Oh, you guys get to see how messy everything is. Final YouTube promotional video. There we go. Okay, so this is a 90-second video, and it's going to give you an idea of what these promo videos should look like. I'm just checking to make sure you guys will be able to hear all the sound. Yep, should be good. Okay, so here we go. First 3 seconds is the image of the course. Then there's... You'll see, okay?
My name is Jack Pittman, and I am here to teach you how to use YouTube. If you use the technologies available at your fingertips, you can earn money doing what you love. You're going to understand exactly what it takes to create YouTube videos on a YouTube channel. You're also going to be able to get over your fear of clicking record. I've made over 1,000 YouTube videos over 3 years of my life. You're going to be nervous. You just got to throw yourself at it. In this course, you're going to learn all of the components that make up a YouTube video. You're going to learn how tags play a role in the title, the description, and the keywords of all YouTube videos to allow them to show up in search results. You'll be able to manipulate these tags to get better results out of your videos so more people can watch them. And I'm going to share with you 5 or 6 different ways that you can earn money from YouTube. I designed this course for people who have interest in YouTube, but haven't actually started their own channel, who want to share their passions and meet other like-minded individuals, and maybe struggle to actually find people who they relate to. I'm going to show you exactly how to use YouTube to improve yourself. You're going to bridge the gap between the person you are now and the person that you want to be. YouTube changed my life and allowed me to quit my job at 2,000 subscribers. You don't need to get into the millions to benefit from the power of YouTube and connecting with other like-minded individuals. This course will give you everything that you need to get started on the YouTube channel that you've been putting off.
All right, so that is the basic format of a promotional video. And the more of them you create, because that's the 3rd one that I've made now, or 4th one. Yeah, because I made them on Skillshare as well, now that I think about it. So I've only made 3 on Udemy, but I made like 4 on Skillshare. And like, there's definitely problems in them. They're not perfect, definitely. There's still more, like, the way that I do the cuts and the editing. Sometimes, like, my face moves around too much. There's little things like that. But overall, it's definitely way better than not having one. And you can see how, in that video that I just showed, I don't follow this exactly because I don't start off by giving my credibility. I start explaining the benefits of the course, and then I give my credibility. So I changed the order a little bit, and that's not ideal. Really, you want to follow the blueprint. In this situation, I had the raw footage I had, and at this point, I wasn't going to record anything aside from screen recorded content because I don't have the same like situation setup I had when I recorded it. So that was just the only reason. But in the future, you know, you can always remake the videos and make them better. But having these promotional videos is really, really important because once you have it, it gives you a doorway that you can then start putting other places on the internet. And the same for Udemy. So having a promotional video is going to make your content on Udemy perform better, and it's going to get you more Udemy organic traffic as well, right? So your organic Udemy traffic will go up, and the performance of the marketing that you do as an instructor is also going to go up as well. They're very, very useful, and they're definitely worth creating, okay? So that's the main, most common hole that people have. Another thing is not having assignments, all right? So this is something that my dropshipping course is guilty of, but I've actually gone through and fixed the other 2 courses, so now I'm working on the dropshipping course. Basically, at least once per section, you should have an assignment that offers students a chance to get out of the headspace of watching video and to start actually thinking and applying what you've been talking about. Because otherwise, your course is basically just a YouTube channel, right? So typically you add assignments like this. And they're very simple. All it is some text, and there's questions and solutions, okay? So in this case, the 3 questions I ask are, what are 3 different ways to earn money from your YouTube channel? What is the least profitable way to earn money from your YouTube channel? And what is the most profitable way to earn money from your YouTube channel? One thing you want to keep in mind with these is that you're not so much trying to test your student as you are just trying to get them to think. That's really what matters. You're trying to get them to think in a way that's different than the way that they're thinking when they're watching your videos. Because when you're watching, all you're doing is observing. Maybe you're having some organic thoughts about how you might use the information, but you're not really applying it. Whereas when you're actually like reading, that is a different way to interact with the information. So it's going to increase the retention rate in the student, right? So you want to stay away from yes or no questions. You don't want it to be like necessarily a right or wrong answer. What you want is the student's going to be like, okay, this is a question. Then they're going to put in an answer, and then they're going to see your solution, okay? So in this case, I said, what are the 3 different ways to earn money from your YouTube channel? What would be bad is if I was like, these are the only 3 ways. Here they are. These are the 3 correct ways. And that's the answer. That's not the kind of question you want. You want things that, like, them reading your answer will educate them further, and it will solidify the concepts that they have learned in the videos that they've started to think about. You want to revisit them in these questions, okay? So in this case, for example, when I ask for 3 different ways, so the student will put in 3, and then they see an answer, and it's like, oh, well, there's hundreds. Here are some of them. Maybe you got 3 of them, okay? And this is a strategy I use a lot, where I'm not trying to get the student to be like, okay, are you right or are you wrong? I'm trying to get them to think a bit more analytically, and then to be in a different headspace where they then read an answer and it reconnects a concept that was made earlier in the content, okay? Yeah, so Asim, the promo video and the introduction video are completely different. Your introduction video is what explains what your course is. You're not supposed to try and do any selling, really, in your introduction video. Your intro is supposed to be really short, and you're just like, hey, this is exactly what the course is. This is what the first section teaches. This is the second section. This is the third section. This is what you're going to learn, okay? Think of your introduction as an index to your course. The index in a book is the part in the very beginning that says what page everything is on. For example, if you have a cookbook, then there's going to be an index in the beginning that shows the recipe and the name of the recipe and the page that it's on. So instead of having to read the whole book, you just look at the index and you go exactly where the page you want is. That's the same role that your introduction video should play. Your introduction serves as a way for the student to see what the course is, and if they want to go to a section that's specific to them and more relevant, they don't want to take it chronologically, they should be able to watch the introduction video and know exactly what section to go look at. Whereas the promotional video is an advertisement. This is when you're trying to instill emotion in a person. You're trying to get an emotional connection. You're trying to make some form of connection that gets them to then engage in the content. And these two roles are quite different. So don't get the introduction video confused with a promotional video. All courses are required to have an introduction video, whereas promotional videos are optional, but they're very important. So make sure that you create them. All right. Oh, man. My throat hurts. Valera says hello. What's up? Nobody's joined the stream, guys. I guess, I've been presenting content, so it's all good. I actually don't feel that great. My throat hurts a lot. I think I'm getting a cold. Some of my roommates have been sick, so. What else would you guys like? Anything I can talk to you about now? That was the whole Udemy rant, so you get all of the most important parts of what I understand about Udemy. There's some other nitty-gritty stuff, but avoid free courses. You can give your course away for free, but use promo codes and only give it only give it for free to people who have some kind of interest in you or your course already. What else? Course length is important. Udemy's changing their pricing, so you're going to get more money if you have a longer course. Talked about contribution of courses. Wicked. I'm just going to wait and see if anyone says anything. Otherwise, I'll probably end this in next couple minutes. I think I'll make a video out of that, actually. That was a good overview of some of the recent Udemy things. That's what's great about live streams, is you can create a live stream and then just cut parts of the live stream up and then create videos out of them later. Because most people won't watch a whole live stream. All right. Oh, okay. So Scott Lindsay said, you said you were updating your dropshipping course. Did you include anything on Amazon dropshipping? No, I don't have any experience with Amazon. So I'm not going to add it into the course because I don't do it, and I haven't done it. So it's one thing I can talk about eBay dropshipping because I'm connected with people and I used to do it a lot and I understand a lot about it. And I have a lot of experience with it, even though I don't do it anymore. Whereas with Amazon, I'm not going to really put too much. I just don't have that information, really. I've been updating it more about, adding more. I added the promo video. I added more information about the changes that eBay has made and how the scene is different now and some of the solutions for this. Talked about legitimacy and suppliers, that kind of thing. Most of the updates I've been doing are efficiency updates, changing the order of things, changing the sections, keeping in mind that most students will only see the first or second section. So the one that you choose to show them, first or second, determines the kind of reviews you get. It's important to make sure that you're keeping the student's perspective in mind. And previously, I had just started the course immediately off with the changes that had been made. But this really was alienating people in the course, and it was demotivating them. So what I changed is I added it so that in the beginning it shows this document that explains all the possible things that can go wrong in an eBay sale and gives it away, and arms the student with something useful, and then like slowly immerses them into the changes after that, instead of in the beginning of the course immediately just being like, everything changed on eBay. Now that happens after you've at least learned about eBay a little bit. So Dog Sitter Life asked, how is banking in Nicaragua for Americans? And banking in Nicaragua for Americans is easier than banking in Nicaragua for Nicaraguans, because the Nicaragua uses the US dollar and its local currency, the Cordoba. But people are more interested in having dollars because it doesn't inflate as much. So typically when you make large purchases, houses, anything like this, cars, you're going to be paying in dollars. Because if you pay $100,000 for something and you do it in cords, then you're literally losing, every couple months, you're losing a significant portion of that. So people will avoid large payments in Cordobas. Typically, all small things are done in cords. So if you're buying stuff in the street, you're buying food, you're going to be paying in cords. But people will always accept dollar. You'll just get cords as change. Okay? So if you pay a $20 bill for something, you'll get a couple hundred cords back as your change. And sometimes tourists get taken advantage of because they don't understand the conversion. So people will like keep one of the 100 cords or 200 cords to themselves because the tourist probably won't notice. But in general, it literally is easier to bank here. If you have a U.S. bank account, you have the perfect Nicaraguan banking solution. The problem is that for locals, it's hard for them to get U.S. banking accounts. If you want to open an account in U.S. dollars here, it's significantly more expensive than having an account in Cordobas. We're talking about like 10 times as much money, something like that. There's some free solutions for getting bank accounts in cords, but not for dollar. It costs significant amounts of money in most situations, or at least for most local people here. And all you do is you just it's just like in the U.S. Like, I have a debit card. I go to the ATM. I withdraw money. I pay the fee because you probably won't have a bank that is a Latin American bank, so you always pay that like $4 foreign withdrawal fee or whatever it is. Or not foreign withdrawal fee. That's different. You always pay ATM surcharge of $3 or $4 for using an ATM that isn't your bank. But honestly, I mean, $4 in the U.S., that adds up, especially because you could just use your own bank. But here, you're saving so much money that a $4 charge to access your money seems trivial and insignificant, to be honest. So, Dog Sitter Life says, Jerry Banfield has been talking about teachability lately. He talks about people saying, I know a lot, when he's teaching. What is the best response when you actually do know the particular thing the person is talking about? Silence? Well, it completely depends on the dynamic, because, like, in this case, for example, in all of these videos, I'm talking to at least multiple people, possibly hundreds of people, possibly thousands of different people. So even if I'm having a conversation with one specific individual, there's also the greater audience in the grand scheme of things that will see that conversation. So, like, in that context, silence would be the best, because even though the person that is being talked to or is talking knows what I'm talking about or what the other person is talking about, we can't assume that our greater audience, who is actually the people that is the target of the video, we can't assume that they also know. So that's a common situation that like I put people in when I'm talking to them about content. I'll get them to re-explain stuff that I know I already know, or I will re-explain stuff that I know they already know, because I know that there are people in the audience who don't know this stuff. And in general, most people don't know the basics. So as an educator, you just say the basics over and over and over and over and over again. And then there's a select few people who you can go into a more detailed, advanced conversation with. But again, that's just because these are YouTube videos. If you're talking about like an in-person conversation, I don't know. It depends. I generally believe silence is best. On my YouTube channel, I talk a lot, but in person, I usually spend most of my time listening, unless I'm venting about something. But in general, like if I have tension with somebody, I'll ask them questions and listen to them, and that usually resolves the tension or allows me to understand. Whereas if I interrupt them and try and predict how they're thinking, that tends to create problems. In general, a lot of people have the same faults. And by fault, I'm talking about a trait in our character, in our personality, a habit that hurts us and hurts the people we love, that we don't have a whole lot of control over. One of the most common ones is the desire to be right. Okay? And this is a classic example of that. When somebody, you're in a conversation with somebody and they're saying, oh, I know, you're trying to show them that you know what they're talking about so that you can move on and so that you can rush to something you don't know, or that you're learning, or that you can validate something. But the reality is that you can learn from everybody, even people who are children, even people who are brand new to things and have no experience. Every different mentality and mindset holds something that you can learn from. And typically, you won't learn unless you listen. So, oftentimes, the desire to be right stops us from actually learning. And this is something I think about a lot, is about how when in life you often have to make a decision, and this decision is between whether you're going to focus on trying to be perceived as right or you're going to focus on learning. And it's nice to think that you can do both, but the reality is that if you're focused on trying to be right, this usually gets too involved with ego and your desire to be a person who's correct, and it clouds your vision. You're more likely to stop observing a situation as soon as it gives you a result that validates that you're right. When in reality, if you really want to learn something, you have to observe it for a long, long period of time and get past that part and absorb as much information as possible. So the mentality necessary to learn as much as possible is markedly very, very different than the mentality necessary to be right and to feel right more often. And it's kind of ironic because if you learn as much as possible, you inevitably get to a point where other people do perceive you as right most of the time. But the problem is that if you are focusing on that, if you're trying to be perceived as right by other people, ultimately it prohibits you from getting the information necessary to actually be perceived as right by other people. So you often have to be really careful with these trains of thought, because it may not seem dangerous, like it may not seem like it's bad to want to be right, but it often does. It's a path. Like if you watch Star Wars, it's a path to the dark side. That I completely believe in that kind of stuff. That maybe there's no inherent evil in it itself, but it puts you in a position that decreases the chance that you're going to be open-minded, and this leads to problems later on, right? For example, in a living situation, somebody may say that, okay, let's take this classic situation, right? If you've lived with people and you've been raised, you've probably been in this situation. There's a younger kid, right? They're really passionate about something and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this all the time. I'm doing it every day. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Okay? And then there's the older individual who's like, you always just go, you lose interest, you go to something else, you're interested in something else after that. You don't focus. You're never focusing. What are you doing? You're not going to stay interested in this, okay? These are the two different perspectives, right? All of us have been in, eventually you got in both. Usually you start in the first one because you're young and excited and interested in things and have fleeting interests, right? And inevitably, interests change. And one of the most common problems that people make here is that they view changing interest as a flaw, when in the reality, changing your interests is the procedure necessary to get to a point where you can maintain interest in something. You have to go through a lot of interests to know what's really important to you and know what you keep coming back to and know what isn't just a fad. You have to change a lot. So it's a classic example of people not being patient enough, right? And so in this scenario where you have a younger person or a younger energy, let's say, who is convinced that this is the thing that they're going to work on, and then you have the older, more patient individual who is convinced that, well, that's great, but it's probably going to be something else, right? The reality is, yeah, the older person probably is right. But what matters here? The older person being right, or the younger person feeling encouraged to pursue their interest? Because by doing anything that leads you to want to be right, the reality is this other person probably isn't going to continue their interest. So if you care about being right, then you're going to say, statistically, you're probably going to fail, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at, is that this mentality goes down a path that prohibits growth. Because the reality is, who gives a fuck if you're right? It's all about growing and learning and being as positive as possible and trying as many new things as possible to get yourself to a point where you've had so many experiences that you understand exactly what you need to do and you do it. That's the inevitable result of having enough variety in experiences, a high rate of new experiences. You inevitably get to a point where you're very focused and you know exactly what you want. It may be a very scattered, long, crazy journey to get to that point, but either you die or that happens. That's the result, right? And by pursuing the desire to be right, we often conflict with the desire to learn. Because the reality is, it doesn't matter that statistically most people will fail. It's completely irrelevant. Because a successful mentality just keeps creating. An unsuccessful mentality requires something in order to create in the first. Jamie, what's up, man? Somebody joined. I forget that I have to do these for like 2 hours to get people to actually join. I can't talk for 2 hours. I did last time.
To get people to actually 2 seconds. Let me mute you. This is the stream itself. How's it going, Jack?
It's going awesome.
Great. Well, you started discussing philosophy, so I couldn't help myself, Jack. You know how it is. It's an interesting principle. You know, it's like you're only taught the 3 states of matter when you're a kid, because it leads you interested, and then honestly, telling them about the 7 or 8 or whatever you want it to be would be too complicated and would obfuscate their learning. So it's something you have to restrict and lie to them about for the sake of their learning. And it's an often the best teacher isn't someone that knows the most. It's who can present the information as effectively as possible. But yeah, obviously in data analysis, which I've been doing more and more of, your ego and like wanting to confirm something completely clouds everything.
Yeah.
Everything. The second you see a correlation, you want it to be.
That's what I want.
Yeah. But you know, you're absolutely correct saying that you're going to cloud your own thoughts with thinking, I am right. I know this is right because I've done it before, and nothing else could change that position. Dog Sitter Life has joined the call as well.
Yeah, this is Rita. So she's actually, so I was talking about philosophical stuff because of a question she asked. That's what led to that.
Hi, guys.
How you doing? It's good to see you again.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. I was trying to get on earlier, but, technical difficulties and all that.
Oh, it's all good.
Too many devices, all that, too many sign-ins, too many passwords.
Too many dogs.
Maybe. That's possible.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that was, I think I've done that my whole life is say, I ask a question and then, yeah, I think it's exactly what you said, Jack. I want to get to the good stuff. Like, okay, I already know this. Let's get on to the good stuff, and I think that changes the whole conversation. For one thing, you're stifling the other person. They might have gotten into the good stuff if I'd just been patient. And it's probably a little bit denigrating to that person. So, yeah, I know.
Yes. Only a boss gets to do it. Like your boss can come and say, give me your results, tell me exactly what it is. But any employee, anyone that's under, has to discuss with fellow co-workers and build with them,
Right.
Sorry.
No, I do it to everybody. I used to do it to bosses. I did it to everybody. I'm a know-it-all. Except I don't know anything. The older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything.
Oh, that means you're learning, though. That's the constant
Yep.
process, isn't it? The more you know, the more you know you don't.
Exactly. But it's been a long journey, and I just want to change that habit of trying to rush somebody through the stuff I already know, so that we can get to the good stuff, So and that I'm not cutting them off, kind of.
Yeah.
It's rude.
It's
Kinda
hard
rude.
though, because when you're in that situation, most people you're around are probably also like that. Like I'd say most people are like that. They interrupt others. It's more common that like there's classic communication mistakes happening than these classic communication mistakes aren't happening, right? That situation is definitely most of the time, most regular interaction with people does have these kind of problems. And people's egos get in the way and that kind of thing. And in general, American society is very rushed. So like, that's something that one of the reasons I'm here in Nicaragua, there's like some noticeable differences in the pace that people have. Like here, it's normal to just go sit down at a table for like 5 or 10 minutes, not do anything, and then just start talking to somebody as they come by to start their day. And you may talk for like 10, 15 minutes. You're not in as much of a rush. That's like the norm. Whereas in the US, it's hard to find time to do nothing with people. Like that's rare. Most of the time, most Americans just completely avoid that like the plague. They always need to have some kind of distraction. And this has a really bad negative effect on our mentalities. It makes us very impatient and promotes these thought patterns that like, oh, I need to get to this sooner. I need to do that. I need to rush. I need to do this. But the reality is like really successful and well-balanced people are never in a rush. They're very just patient. They're able to be as they are. They don't feel this fear that they have to do this right now. They have the patience to see a plan out in its entirety and understand all the different phases that they're going to go through. Whereas most people are unable to do this because they're rushing too much and they're too ahead of themselves, and they fail to be patient and take slow steps.
I agree.
Mm.
I agree. Good point. And it's not good for relationships, to rush through everything.
Yeah,
I think that's very European too. They have these long, late dinners, right? They just sit for 2 hours, having a bit to eat and drinking wine and talking. I love it.
The French. it's the French that do that. Like most people in Europe, like if you go to like Germany or the UK, for example, I'm from Ireland. They're also in a rush. Like dinners are a little longer, but not to the extent of the French. You know, if they go out for like a nice meal that week or month, you know, they really sit down. By the way, can you increase the volume of your mic? You're a little bit quiet.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know how to do it, but I will give it a try.
Well, thank you. We're all about the entrepreneuring spirit here, and part of that is never giving up. So expect the most out of you. So Jack, Udemy, I saw some pretty nice enough numbers on it. Is it going well for you?
It's going well in the sense that I feel very... the income has grown since I started paying more attention to it. But the more valuable thing is that I feel like I have a very clear understanding of what's necessary to improve courses, what makes a good course, what's wrong with the courses I have that aren't performing. I feel like I see all of that. Whereas before, I just didn't freaking know what to do. Like, I would just log into Udemy and I'd be like, I made more courses, but then these courses didn't do anything. And I felt so defeated with it. Now it's completely different. I just like, I'm doing this, and then I'm moving on to the Spanish content website. I want to do that now, but I got to be patient. I got to keep focusing on Udemy and then move on so that I finish the things that I'm saying that I'm going to do, etc., etc.
Fair enough. Have you considered any new courses? Like, have you considered Amazon? Because
No.
you know that would be something interesting for us.
It's highly unlikely I'll do any kind of dropshipping content. I don't mind working with the dropshipping course I already have, but I'm much more interested in getting more stability. I want to get to a point where I can comfortably know that I'll be receiving $1,000 a month at least, and have faith and confidence that like I can't get banned by a platform and that get taken away. And so that's like my focus, and that's why the Spanish content website is a very good situation. Because based on what I understand, like it's completely possible for me to set that up and be earning, like if it reached 100 people, 100 paying members out of all of Latin America who it's targeted to. That's what I need. That's it. And like it's great because the advertising in Latin America costs a third or more than a third less. So as long as I have something that's very relevant to people and useful, and again, they can get it for free. Like part of the advertising strategy is that I'm going to tell them exactly what they need to do in order to just sign up for the free trial, get everything for free, and cancel their membership. Like they're going to be able to do that, but they actually have to do it, right? So they'll be able to get everything for free, which is going to enable me to push it a lot further than if it was like an expensive paid product, especially because there's not a whole lot of money in Latin America. But there is a whole lot of hunger for money. So if I focus on working with that trait in people and giving them what they need in order to access money, then I can put people in a position where Latin Americans can bring US dollars into their current or into their economy without tourists and without American citizenship, which is freaking awesome, right? So that could be like, if that got really scaled and got really big, the long-term complications of that are fascinating, you know, and like really exciting.
Well, you're doing a positive to the country, you know, the situation where, you know, you're pretty close to the US and your economy is failing. You should take advantage. Even if you're further offshore, you know. But have you found it as how to put it, you know, the clientele of the user base on Udemy versus Crash Course? Are pupils more involved in Udemy because they have that extra little bar, the extra payment involved?
Versus, sorry, I'm not sure I completely understand. What do you mean by versus Crash Course?
Not it is Crash Course, isn't it? The other, sorry, Skillshare even fucking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The paid students are more involved because again, they have to commit to your specific product. Like on Skillshare, you can sell yourself as a part of Skillshare. You sell the entire platform. But on Udemy, you're not selling the whole platform. You're just selling your content. So it is inherently quite different. And that's one of the reasons that long content is so important on Udemy.
Fair enough. I've got a more abstract question for you, Jack. If you had to restart your entire career, what would be the first platform you use to re-engage an audience?
YouTube.
Straight away? Would you
definitely. YouTube is like the backbone of everything. If you can run a YouTube channel, even if it's not growing, that means you can create content. It means that within a year or two, you will be comfortable speaking to people. It increases your charisma. It increases your networking. It increases all of the skills that lead to you being a successful person, regardless of whether you're successful with it or not. Like, it's fundamental from my perspective, which is one of the reasons I do it.
Fair enough. And you jump immediately from that to Udemy, so you do pretty much the same thing you're doing now? Or would you think of
if I had to start from the beginning, it would depend on my financial situation. Because I would try and go immediately to digital product that I own that's relevant to the YouTube channel. That's like the dream, the most profit you can have for the littlest amount of time spent and the highest stability is a product you own that you also own the traffic to. So if you don't have to pay for traffic for the product, you have a system that creates that traffic organically, and you own the intellectual property of the product and it's digital, everything else is easy after that. That's the not Pandora's box, the opposite. Pandora's box is the box you open and everything goes to shit, right? So what's the box that has all the answers?
The Great Golden Tomb.
Okay. It's not a thing, okay. I thought there was one.
Oh, loot boxes.
Loot boxes.
Platinum tier loot boxes. That's don't buy loot boxes. They're manipulative. Yeah. And a form of gambling. That should be illegal in any state that bans gambling. But I'm off topic as fuck. So Jack, why red cups? Why are you so prejudiced against blue cups?
There are red cups and blue cups and yellow cups, actually. We don't have any green cups of this size, so I'm prejudiced against green cups. But I got all the other colors on staff.
As an Irishman, I consider that a racial offense. It's called the Emerald Isle for a reason.
You're not wearing any green.
I don't need to. I'm Irish. The green is in the heart and the lungs, but different ratios. So Jack, what's your if you have no plans for additional courses and stuff, you're just going to be developing the ones you currently have and marketing them out more effectively?
Yeah, well, the Spanish content website is a course.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next new thing. But again, I want to work on that now, and I know exactly what I need to do. And I am starting to work on it, but I need to make sure that I finish patching up the holes in Udemy, making sure I have an ongoing marketing strategy, that I'm regularly doing something to promote the courses. And yeah, it should be fine. But I'm becoming more and more excited about the Spanish content site,
Mhm.
Mostly because of the speaking opportunities that I've come across recently. So one of the people who commented earlier, I'm not sure if he's still listening, but his username is Tech Creative Site. So this is David Lopez, and he is an individual I met recently who has done entrepreneurial stuff and is well connected in the universities. So he's already done speeches. He like participates in events. He speaks in front of large groups of people. Sometimes they're paid events as well. And from my perspective, I'm happy to just speak, even if it's free. Like, I don't care. I want that experience. I really want to speak in front of large groups of people and develop that part of myself. So this is really great for me because I'm in the middle of setting up what is necessary for a person in a Latin American country like Nicaragua to earn money online. And now I literally have a chance to speak publicly about that exact same stuff. So it's like, yeah, on one hand, I'm making the online product, but it's also allowing me to develop an actual in-person reputation. And the more I do that, the better the online product gets. And the more I do the in-person stuff, then the better the marketing for the online product will get. So it's like the combination of YouTube and a website or Udemy, except in my real life, it's another income stream as well. So I'm really, really excited about that.
It sounds like quite the positive loop there, and I hope it all goes to how you want it. Would that involve you flying back and forth to America?
No, they're in universities here.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, want you to develop like your
I
language.
don't have much interest in speaking in the United States because the information I have is just, it's more valuable in other countries. It's not as valuable in the US. So,
Well, because the incomes are much better there. If you want to go into e-commerce, the barrier to entries.
It's just not it's not as valuable of an opportunity to work online in the United States compared to living in these other countries. It takes so little work to change your life with online income if you live in a country like Nicaragua. Like it's I would almost say easy to earn $500 a month online. Compared to $2,000, that's not easy.
And would you recommend the layman to go about the same approach you have with YouTube and Udemy, or just whatever inspires them at the time?
Yeah, because it works for a variety of different subjects. All it requires is that you have something you're passionate about, that you enjoy. You create a YouTube channel where you share this passion, and then you create more monetized products that are relevant to this passion. That formula works no matter what country you're in, no matter what payment problems you have. Because a lot of people say that you're in Nicaragua, you can't easily get paid for ads on YouTube. Like, you can't just open an AdSense account and link it to your YouTube account and get paid. It's not that simple. It takes, you have to open a business, and you're not eligible because you're in Nicaragua, right? So these kind of things prohibit people and they stop people. But the reality is that by the time you have a YouTube channel and an audience, ad revenue is just a tiny bit of the money you could be earning. And by having your own product, again, which you can do because you can set up the website, you can do it no matter what country you're in. It's a more viable strategy because it has the flexibility to allow for multiple different passions, and it also has the flexibility of you can do it in the US, you could do it in another country. You don't need to have US citizenship. The problem
isn't
the common problem is processing payments. Basically, if you have a US citizenship or a friend or a business registered in the US, then you can receive payments from anywhere in the world. Any credit card, Arabic credit cards, Latin American credit cards, South American credit cards, Egyptian credit cards, Indian credit cards, all that. As long as you have a US identity. If you don't have that, or you don't have that entity in the United States, it becomes very challenging and expensive to receive payments from all over the world. So usually the easiest thing to do is to open a business This is something that anybody in the world can do. It costs less than $500. But $500, that's a barrier to entry.
So you would set up a business as a sole proprietor and then do YouTube stuff, or would that just come at a date when you start to make money?
It depends. If you're a U.S. person, then you can just register as a sole proprietor and you can use your identity. That's fine. But if you're a foreigner, then you would experience more limitations until the point where you have a U.S. business identity. And there are so many advantages that having a U.S. business identity gives that I would consider the $500 expense worth it, even if you don't have a business. Like, just because it means you have an entity, you can set up a U.S. bank account. That means you're eligible for so many more things. You can trade cryptocurrency. You can do so many more things. Whereas, like, if you're just in Nicaragua or a country like this, you can do these things. Like, you can purchase cryptocurrency here, but it's genuinely like Coinbase, for example, doesn't recognize you can only trade currency for another currency if you're in Nicaragua. You can't buy currency with a Nicaraguan bank account or something like that, or a Nicaraguan credit card. You have to use another service that allows you to buy from a country like Nicaragua. And most of these services can charge up to like 30% of the transaction as a fee.
Right.
So, like, it's like, yeah, you can get the currency, but if you're paying 30%, even if you're paying 10%, that's a lot, a huge amount, right? Especially because typical transfers for money are like 3% too, maybe less, yeah. So it becomes, like, based on what you're trying to do, it becomes significantly cheaper to just pay the $500 and open a U.S. business and then do everything that way.
Fair enough. So you talked about making content that you're interested in. I think it's important that there needs to be someone who's also interested in it. You know, you can't just suddenly, I don't know, wrap yourself up in for it and roll down a hill and expect people. Actually, that would be in the comedy section. So some people might be interested in that. I guess there you go.
You can technically do anything as long as you do it and you maintain the subject matter.
Okay.
And you're filling people's needs. But that part's important. But what I'm saying is that you should focus on...
They were burying a corpse.
Yeah.
And he just every day is like, oh, we're burying the corpse of this animal. And the content would get very
rained
dry.
Yesterday, so today is going to be different.
I don't... Like, if you're going with such a niche category, it's going to be hard to build a following. But yeah, anything that is something you could be interested in will likely interest others.
That's why it's important to start with what you're interested in, because yeah, it is true, you need to be able to identify what other people are interested in, and you need to be able to target this, you need to be aware of what problems they have so that you can solve them, etc., etc. But you're never going to get to the point where you understand any of that unless you're making content. So it's better to just, like, if you're interested in it, that means that you can make a video and enjoy the process and post it. And even if it only gets like a view or maybe 2 views in the first month, like, you are interested in doing it anyway. So you don't need that proof in order to keep going. And that part's really important.
Fair enough.
Rita actually just started a YouTube channel. That's what the Dog Sitter Life thing is, the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah, sort of. I'm kind of on hold for a little bit. I'm going to have to move. Can you hear me okay, Jamie?
Yeah. Well, you're still as quiet as before, but I can just about hear you.
I'm trying to talk close to the screen.
Oh.
I'm going to have to move in the next couple weeks or so. So I'm just going to wait a little bit on starting it because I don't want to start.
I'd like to think you'd move before 2 weeks. Surely you need to go to the toilet.
What?
I'm just being a dick. You said you're not going to move for 2 weeks.
No, it might take me a month. I move kind of slow. I'm old. But I just like to do everything perfectly. I want everything cleaned up and, you know, the whole deal. So, yeah, well, I'm working and everything too. So I just want to wait because I don't want to start the channel and then be MIA for a month, even though probably no one will even notice. But I don't know. I just want to
Honestly,
start
yeah.
it.
What matters is getting it started. If you wait for the perfect situation, you know, you could wait your whole life for the perfect scenario. You have to just create, really. It's not going to hurt your channel to make a video and then not make one for 30 days. You're going to be in a better position than if you didn't make a video at all and then you make a video
Why is
after the
that?
30 days.
Why is that?
Well, because that means that you created it, you went through that process, and then you had 30 days to think about other things, to reflect. So that second video that you make is going to be better. Whereas if you wait and you make that one video, then it's not going to be as good just because you haven't gotten the experience that you would have gotten if you just make a video now, and even if you don't do anything. Like with my YouTube channel, I uploaded like 5 or 6 videos over like 3 years before I actually started my YouTube channel.
What were they then? Just, you know, redubbed?
Oh
Dragon.
god, like, yeah, they were. But one was this rant about, like, I was frustrated with politics, so I ranted about politics. Another one was me trying to play guitar.
See, these are these like too hardcore for YouTube nowadays?
I think the video is still there. It's like accessible, but I have 1,000 videos after it, so people don't notice.
Yeah, we'll see about that one, Jack.
You buried it.
So, oh geez, my father died. My personal pursuit of
Yeah,
happiness.
that's the political one. Yep.
That is the political one. Well, you see.
What's great about that video? So that was I used to have these, like, I thought I was bipolar. I think I was just younger. My emotions were more intense. But I would have these phases where I felt like I could see all the answers to my problems, and then that would go away and I would feel all clouded. Whereas now I'm usually in that state, so it's not a bipolar thing anymore. There was something I used to experience a lot, which is called
Which state's the
hypomania.
good one or the bad one?
Oh, I'd experienced like different states, right? But one of the
Okay.
common ones for me was hypomania. And so when a person is manic, they're like going like this. They can't do any one thing. They're going back and forth. Whereas a hypomanic is just under that. So you have a lot of energy and you can just keep working. So like I would get in these hypomanic states and I would work for like 18 hours straight, something ridiculous like that. This was back when I had a job that was more like, it was a salaried job and I was in control of my work. So if I wanted to go in earlier and get more done, or stay later and do more so I had less work the next day, I was able to do that. But that was something I experienced pretty commonly. I forgot why I brought this up, though.
I was talking about your old content. You're talking about politics and bipolarism.
Yeah. So I was in that state when I made that video. That was like my first YouTube video, basically.
It is your first YouTube video?
Yeah, it was like 4 years before I started my YouTube channel, or 3 years or something like that. But what's great is that there's a point where the phone rings in that video, and it's actually one of my coworkers outside to pick me up to take me to work. But I was so into making the video that I was like, fuck it. And I kept talking and making the video, and then I was late to work that day.
Oh.
It was pretty
You
fun.
have a towel around your head as well.
Yeah.
Is that to cool the brain off?
No, I used to wear do-rags and bandanas.
I used to wear a beanie all the time. So yeah, dogs say life. Don't sit around yourself. Live life to its fullest, like dogs do, and get that content made.
I used to actually go live on Facebook a lot. I didn't show my face, but I would just walk with the dogs. And yeah, during the last election, I even would do because just indulge myself in talking about politics.
Oh,
while
you
I was
also have
working out.
political content? I'll be searching for
Oh,
that
I
one.
already erased it. Oh, that's long gone now. No way.
All
You
right.
won't find it. But yeah, I just
Just
erased
don't
it
make
all.
it
But
again.
no. No, man. The politicians are having a great time drinking champagne together. I'm not gonna, I just decided that I just want to work on my own life because I'm not going to change politicians.
Do you know in my country, when a business gives a politician a bribe, it's called corruption. When it's done here, it's just perfectly foul politics.
Wait, where's your country?
I'm from Ireland.
Ireland, and so there it's called a bribe, and what else? No, there it's called corruption.
Yeah, well, you see, a business isn't allowed to donate privately to a political organization. That's just
Conflict of interest.
I know.
Yes.
I know. They just call it lobbying here.
Yes, no, that is no, exactly. Like it's perfectly legit here. It's not considered part of corruption.
It's not really legit though. It's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, just like I don't even want to go there because I just get kind of crazy. So it just, it's better for me to just stay in my lane, as they say. Let the politicians eat each other, and
that's what they want you to do. Stay in your lane your whole life. Don't protest.
No,
Protesting
I don't know
effective never works.
I don't have any power to do anything. If I was already a billionaire or something, then maybe I could do something. But I'm not at that level. I don't really think we have as much power as we think we do. Even voting, I just don't know if it really matters. So I'd rather just work on things that I actually can see results.
That's a philosophy I use a lot, for sure.
Yes.
It's just otherwise, I mean, I spent a few years trying to be political, and I feel like I was just spinning my wheels, and I didn't get any, not that I have to be wealthy, but I didn't really improve my finances at all, and I don't think I improved as a person. I don't think I really grew. I think I kind of stayed stuck.
Did you have to do the phone calls with the elites and get fundraising?
No, I didn't do it.
And you weren't involved in politics in America?
Nothing like that. Just shit posting on the internet.
Right, fair enough. Yeah. But this chat isn't about politics here. I'm sure your perspectives were beneficial. Unfortunately, the medium of Facebook and stuff results in very little results, unless, of course, get those real viral videos going. So my advice next time, get your dogs involved. If they start having political opinions, someone might start to care.
That's true.
Because people, statistically speaking, like dogs and would be more hurt by seeing harm come to a dog than another human.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
have opinions.
I agree. Yeah, actually, that's probably a brilliant idea. I don't know if anyone's done it yet, but you could, how they have dogs on YouTube or whatever, they look like they're talking and people make them say words. You could actually, but
I saw
political
some
argument.
Wait,
what party would be what species of dog or what breed?
All sorts. There's Dalmatians, all sorts, and it was a painting.
So what would in the U.S. like Republican and Democrat, right? What dog breed would each be represented by?
I'm not going there.
Well, a bulldog is what the party for who was? Oh no, he was just called the bulldog.
Yeah, because normally it's an elephant and a donkey, right?
Yeah.
Which are both funny. There's got to be a history to that. Like, how do they end up picking two animals that are not really common in the U.S. at all? Like, you don't see. I mean, I'm sure they have donkeys in the U.S., but it's not like something you see walking around.
That's so true.
I'm willing to learn this.
I think for dog breeds, both of them wouldn't be very intelligent. if we're really being honest, like as a whole consensus, I'm not saying any one individual or any representatives may or may not be smart enough, but as a general, you know,
Yeah,
No.
Martin either.
we can we can verbalize our general resentment towards politics in general. We can't just side. That's the difference, you know.
Right.
So
No, I'm trying to
we
do
can say they're both dumb. We just can't say one of them is dumb.
right.
Yes.
No, we're doing good. I think we're doing a good job
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Neutral. I mean, I don't even think I'd want a dog to represent politicians now that I think about it.
I like
Would they
dogs
both be
too much.
bitches?
Rats and snakes. Sorry, but I kept it even and I didn't say who was who. But rats and snakes.
Yes.
How about that? Talking rats and talking snakes. Is that too political? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put down politicians. They're probably very nice people.
So what do you do for your livelihood?
Me, the dog sitting and dog walking is the primary bill payer.
Fair enough. Then you are
Yeah.
representative of your namesake. That's good. I'm glad you know me.
And I also do eBay part-time. And so that's another thing that has been an excuse for not starting my YouTube channel in earnest.
What kind of eBay stuff do you do?
Mostly clothing, women's clothing.
Sorry, what?
Mostly women's clothing.
Women's clothing. Oh, you're in the fashion. Do you how do you go ahead basing trends? Do you just have a sort of knowledge of it like in deep, or is there some kind of approach you take to find, you know, the latest trends that are going on?
I didn't know anything about fashion. I dress like a homeless bum.
Right.
But, what?
I'm only wearing this shirt, so I mean, I haven't even clothed myself.
I'm wearing a similar shirt, but I'll tell you what I did, and then I'll tell you what I should have done and what I do now to stay on top of trends. Is
Okay.
I used to just watch like Instagram and the other women that were mostly women that were selling, you know, mostly used clothing. But now the best thing I think is to just go into the eBay sold items and look and see what brands and styles are selling. So I just go in and do a search and filter it by solds. And I put in a price range that I'd like to get, which is, I put in $35 to $100. You can filter it like that. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I didn't know how much experience you have with it. And then, and then I just look. I can do that while I'm walking dogs, actually.
Whoa.
I put my dogs on a belt, and then I just sit and I put them. My hands are free, and especially certain dogs that I've been walking a long time, I don't need my hands at all, generally, except when I have to pick up, you know what.
That's it. You should make a YouTube video just about that.
Oh God.
I used to because I had a dog for 16 years, a big dog, like a fluffy golden chow chow.
Oh, nice.
And I learned the glory of being able to strap the dog's leash to your chest or your belt. That was amazing, because then you didn't have to deal with all the back and forth, as long as your dog wasn't too strong, because that could be a problem. But my dog was old at that point.
Yeah, it's amazing. It took me about 2 years to convince another dog sitter friend, to try it. I mean, I don't know why it takes people so long to try things. It's that teachability thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
I've been doing this for so many years. Couldn't be the right way.
We think we know everything. And she finally tried it and just loved it, you know. So, you know, it depends on the dog, like you said. Most dogs aren't going to be too strong to pull you over unless you're super, like if you're maybe really old or something. I don't know. But, you know, some of the dogs wrap themselves around your legs. So in that case, you would need to use your hands a little to keep that from happening. Teach them not to do that. But, yeah, so I can sit there, walk, and check out the solds, you know. And, you know, I look at, you know, like I said, brands and, you know, styles that are, you know, and you just, after a while, it sinks in, you know. It takes me a while, but I'm getting there.
Fair enough. It's a pretty interesting job, like, and I assume it's just word of mouth kind of ordeal.
Oh, dog sitting.
Yeah.
I got a lot of business from Craigslist actually, and then some word of mouth. Yeah, mostly Craigslist, and then I don't know. Sometimes people find me from Yelp. I don't really like Yelp because they hide your reviews if the person is not a regular Yelper. So I try to get people, if they want to review me, I try to get them to go on Google. But anyway, sometimes people find me that way. And I have paid for Yelp before, but it doesn't seem to, when I pay, I never get anything. I get more when I just don't pay them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
What do you do?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a programmer. I work with Jack.
Oh, okay.
Dude, we got a team.
Woo!
Yes. I do. It keeps getting more generalized every week at this point, Jack. But I was meant to program a algorithm to find lots of different job posts and match them together so that anyone could use a search engine like Google, but for jobs that would compare every job comparison site simultaneously. But instead, I am developing something that automates the entire process of drop shipping.
Ooh.
Bit by bit, step by step, with the exception of customer service. I mean, we'll have some things to help it, but you need a human talking to a human. Nothing I could build can replace that, unfortunately. Some of the messages we get, there's just no suitable response that AI could provide.
In a different language, not spelt correctly, not about the right item.
Yeah, or just like referencing an arbitrary thing that you need to like search Google to like find a tracking number somewhere and then like reference that off to supply. So yes, I programmed the automation tools for that. And Jack
We're going to make a game in the future. Jamie doesn't know this. We're going to do it.
Is this how it's going to end up? Well, I was the youngest developer in Steam for a short period of time.
Wow.
So here's an ethics question for you, Dog Sitter Life. You told me your name if you're not already because I'm an asshole. Pardon?
Rita,
sorry. What about dog breeding? Do you believe it's like ethically right to like go ahead and like breed sausage dogs out longer and longer?
You could make YouTube videos about breeding dogs.
Yeah,
Training
that's when you get into the controversial stuff that people like, huh? When you start talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. You've given me good ideas, Jamie. Me personally, let's see. Yes, I do, but I think the backyard breeders need to be dealt with because there
the little cages in their houses and stuff.
What?
They're little cages in their houses, and they're just bred in like an industrial scale and in a environment.
And the problem with that is then when they don't get sold to the pet store or wherever, that's the ones that often end up at the rescues. Shelters.
Fair enough.
Because when you go to a shelter, a lot of times you see these purebred dogs, and I suspected this was true for a lot of years, and then some other people came forward and backed me up on it because you know what I mean. Sometimes it takes a while for the information to get out.
Mm-hmm. How do you fix that though? Just make it so you can't sell dogs?
I don't know exactly how it would work. I haven't really worked out the details, but yeah, I mean, and
I mean, I think the solution's pretty obvious.
What's that?
Well, the final solution, of course. Just kill all the dog breeders.
Classic Jamie.
No,
I don't think we should kill the dog breeders. I don't know. Just have a little bit stricter. It's kind of funny because I'm a freedom lover, but at the same time, some things you have to deal with.
People will try and sell you puppies through your car window, like you're literally in the car.
Oh, where you are?
Yeah,
in Nicaragua?
yeah. And like suddenly there is literally a husky puppy in your face, and a guy being like, $20, $20, come on, you want it? It's super cute. You know you want it. And it's hard. I like that. There's a couple times I've been like, fuck, I want a big dog. But there's so much responsibility. I can't get that dog. I can't accept this puppy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. They probably don't have all the laws. I live in California, and unless you are a breeder, you can't even legally. You have to get your dog fixed. So, and that's part of the reason
there are
I
laws
did a lot
here,
of
but
huh?
there are laws here about these things, but they're not commonly followed. Maybe there's more people who don't like. For example, riding in a truck.
There's a minimum drinking age in Ireland.
Like riding in the back of a truck, for example, like a pickup truck. That's illegal here, but it is how the police move. Like, there's a lot of things like that where they're technically illegal, but you have a lot of situations where the technical law and the actual in practice law aren't really the same, which is usually that's not good, because they need to be the same. But it means that as long as you understand what practiced law is, then it's different.
Yeah, it's kind of good if you're a good person. I think that's a good environment in a way, because you're not going to do anything really horrible. So you can play in the gray area a little bit, and because sometimes when you got too many rules that are enforced, it's stifling,
Yeah. But
so
then bad people take advantage.
I know, that's the problem, the bad people. So maybe Jamie's right. Just kill all the bad people. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Kidding for now.
Bad.
There's enough humans.
Maybe we shouldn't use that word. We don't want Jack to get trouble.
It's okay. I already swore like twice in this live stream, so it's been demonetized.
Oh,
and Jamie said fuck once as well.
I said fuck at least 3 times.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Wow, I'm getting desensitized.
No, it's all good. It is actually interesting that talking about subjects of violence and using words like kill and death, these actually get noticed on YouTube, and it does limit the kinds of money you can earn from ad revenue.
Well,
they know
it's
everything.
That we only talk about high valuable retail and mortgages,
dogs, puppies, kittens, pets,
kitties.
Can I interest you in a mortgage or a rental property?
Commerce, Bitcoin,
crypto, machine learning, AI, data-driven, monetization methods.
Money.
Please, SEO gods, bestow upon us greatness.
All right, guys, I need to go eat. It was great talking with you all.
Thank you.
Join again next week. Oh, I actually look at the chat one more time. Actually, I can't just leave without looking at the chat.
There's an important question here. Is Tiger Woods going to at least shoot 5 under today, Jack? He needs to know.
Is Tiger Woods going to at least shoot 5 under today? I don't know. We gotta make a big decision here.
Jack, I'm running the algorithms. Under these bases, there's a 50% approximation that Tiger Woods.
It's no.
Justin
He's not
Bieber.
gonna do it.
If you say Justin Bieber, you will get more views.
Oh yeah.
Justin Bieber. Is Justin Bieber going to wear some new sneakers today? That should be good. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I
don't see it. You told somebody that drop shipping is completely dead, Jamie.
Everyone tells everyone drop shipping is completely dead.
This person was probably like, well, all right, I guess that's it. I don't need to do anything. I'm gonna leave this stream and go get a job. You just altered their fate.
Oh my god.
Actually, less competition.
Blood in the street. That's
would
when you
bet.
sell, right? No, that's when you buy. Buy.
Dropship so our algorithm can analyze more, please. Everyone dropship. Especially you, dog sitter. You have to dropship puppies.
Oh, hell
Right
no.
to people's car doors.
I would never get into drop shipping. I should never say never, but it doesn't. I don't like heavy competition like that.
But it's dead. No one's doing it.
Sure it is.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, I won't do it. You don't have to worry about me. I'm out of that.
All right, guys.